Now here is the risk that Browns had to take with I love you, Cleveland. And I love you, Ohio. And a very pleasant welcome to this week's version of Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network. Hi, I'm Bruce Drennan along with Ryan Smith back in the warm confines of our downtown studios here at the Big Play Sports Network after those frigid conditions. But it was a great atmosphere. Hope you were able to join us yesterday in our opening day celebration. Heck, we were on the air from like 10 until 4 o'clock. It was great. Ryan, how do you feel? I saw your teeth chattering there for a while, too.
You know, Bruce, sometimes I like to complain about it's too warm in the studio, but I don't think I have the right to complain for at least 2 weeks after the coldness that was the Guardians home opener.
This guy's such a gamer. He was out there from – what time did you get there? Like 8 o'clock in the morning, I heard?
I pulled up to Burke at 8 o'clock, and I got there at 8:30. Yep.
Oh. And
long day.
Set everything up, producing all the shows.
And I was at the game, Bruce.
And then you went to the game.
I did.
And what a game it was. We won. We got so much to cover today. Obviously, the Masters is going to tee off tomorrow. Mike Yeager, the head golf professional, PGA golf professional, and now general manager at Columbia Hills Country Club, where I belong, will be joining us to preview the Masters. But so much more to cover today on the show. And I do want to start with yesterday. With all the shows that we had, it was really fun to see Carlos Baerga, who has now joined our staff. Josh and Maria Cribbs did their portion. Matt Fontana was there, and so many others, including Ken Miles, one of the owners of our network, who just had landed from Dubai after racing a horse there. He owns several racehorses, but really, all in all, a lot of fun, great fun by all. And we look forward to the College Companies golf tournament at Firestone, where we will be the media outlet for you for that event in June. You'll be hearing a lot about it, and I'm looking forward to it, Ryan.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Last year was so much fun. They being the media sponsor there, and the fact that we get to do it again means, hey, we did a good job. And they do such a good job. The Infinity Zone, the guests they have, the fan experiences, it's second to none, Bruce. And such a beautiful course and club. And to go see those seniors play golf, it's such an amazing day.
Yeah, and our thanks again to Matt Collig of Collig Companies for providing the stage for us yesterday and all the hospitality he bestowed upon our entire staff. Well, it was a 1-0 walk-off walk win for our team against the Chicago White Sox. In the bottom of the ninth inning, Nolan Jones just missed, hitting a grand slam by a few feet. Jose breaking up the no-hitter in the sixth inning. Great day for the pitchers, cold as it was. A real hindrance for the hitters, of course, but first walk-off walk in a 1-0 game by any team since 2009, and the first for our Cleveland, now Guardians, when they were the Indians back in 1989. Line score, Cleveland, 1 run on only 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 men left. For Chicago, no runs, 2 hits, and 5 men stranded. So what a game it was, cold as it was. Lively 5 innings of work, no runs, 2 hit ball. He was tremendous. He walked 3, he struck out 4. And the kid for Chicago also pitched very well. But Cade Smith, Paul Sewald, Hunter Gaddis, and Emmanuel Clase combined for 4 innings of shutout ball, no-hit shutout ball, and 5 strikeouts. And that was absolutely tremendous, Ryan. The pitching is what won the game. That's like last year, the way that bullpen get that game into the 6th inning and look out.
It was like the most Ben Lively start ever, right? You go 5 innings, you get some help from your defense, and you keep your team in it going into the 6th, 7th inning. Paul Sewald, a little bit of struggles this season, very efficient inning he came in and pitched. Cade Smith, 2 walks, a little bit worried, but then he found his stuff. Got the strikeouts, and we went to go bat. And then you said Clase. I was a little bit worried, though. Rocchio had the error, and that's the last thing Clase needs, but he got it back together. 2 strikeouts in his own right, and then that sealed the deal for us to end it in the bottom.
You just give Sewald time to get his feet planted. This is a guy that had 30-plus saves a couple of years ago, so he's a great addition to that bullpen, which was already lights out from a year ago. All right, taking a look at the rest of the American League Central, Detroit going into today's play 7-4. They've won 5 in a row. Yesterday, they beat the Yankees, and Skubal was absolutely off the charts tremendous as he beat the Yanks. Kansas City in second at 6-5. They have now won 3 in a row. Our Guardians are 4-6 in third. Minnesota's in fourth at 3-8. And then the White Sox bringing up the rear, which kind of everybody expected anyway. In the American League East, Toronto leads that division with a 7-5 record. And, of course, Guerrero got that contract extension. How about that? 14 years, $500 million. My God. Just astronomical money that's being dished out here. Jimenez, the former second baseman of the Guardians, 9 for 41 so far this year. He has 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, couple of doubles, 3 stolen bases, but his batting average is only .220. The Yankees are 6-5 in second place. Bellinger just got a dosage of food poisoning. I don't know how long he'll be out. Detroit, of course, beat the Yanks, as I mentioned, behind Skubal. Incidentally, Skubal's line was 6 innings of shutout ball. He allowed 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 6. Boston's 6-6 in third. Baltimore's 5-7 in fourth. And former starting pitcher Corbin Burns, represented by Scott Boras, actually came out and publicly said, after just yesterday or the day before he made this statement, he had signed that big contract with Arizona, which is 6 years, $210 million. But he said that Baltimore offered him a 4-year deal at $180 million. Now, Boras represents him, as I mentioned, and Burns, going to Arizona, he lives in Scottsdale. So that makes sense for him. Tampa Bay bringing up the rear at 4-6. That's such a balanced division. American League West, the LA Angels, a bit of a surprise so far at 7-3. They've won 3 in a row, but how long will this last? Texas is second at 8-4. Young just returned from the IL for them. He made a costly error in their loss last night, but he did a 10-6 loss to the Cubs, but he won 3 for 4 with a double and a triple. So he is a nice addition to come back after being hurt. Houston's 5-6. Eric Getty has just been sent to the IL. Their rotation is already banged up. They can ill afford more injuries to their pitchers. The Athletics, as they're calling themselves now, because they don't have a city, even though they're playing in that minor league facility in Sacramento, but 5-7 record, and then Seattle 4-8. Over in the National League, in the East, I still can't shake this cold, so forgive me if I'm sniffling. The National League East, the New York Mets are 8-3. They've won 6 games in a row now. Soto, 308 batting average, 1 homer, 4 RBIs, and 4 doubles so far. Philadelphia 7-3 in second. Then Miami 5-6. Washington 5-6. And Atlanta's now 2-8 after starting off the season 0-7. Now, they got some good news yesterday because they activated Sean Murphy. Remember, they gave him, used to be with the Oakland A's, they gave him a monster contract to bring the catcher to Atlanta. And then he got hurt last year, and he was out for most of the season. And but he returned last night, and in that game, a 7-5 victory over Philadelphia, he went 2 for 4 with a home run, and he had 4 RBIs in the game. So he's a welcome addition, that's for sure. National League Central, the Cubs are 9-5. That was my pick to win that division, as you recall. After losing 2 to Los Angeles and Japan to officially open up the season, the Cubs since then are 9-3. Milwaukee 6-5, St. Louis 5-6, Cincinnati 5-7. Terry Francona, our old buddy, with a 1-0 victory over San Francisco last night. Lodolo had 6 shutout innings for them. And then Pittsburgh 4-8 as Skeens got the loss in a 5-3 decision to St. Louis yesterday. It wasn't his fault. He went 6 innings. He did give up 5 runs on 6 hits with 1 walk. He had 7 strikeouts, but Pittsburgh 4-8 in last place. Some things never change. And then in the National League West, San Diego's 9-3. They got off to that 7-0 start. However, they've got some injuries right now. Jackson Merrill, Tatis, Cronenworth are all hurt. San Francisco is 8-3. They've won 7 in a row. They won 7 in a row before losing their last 2. They may be a surprise team this year. Usually when you don't count on the Giants to do anything is when they kind of surprise everybody. Then comes the Dodgers, 9-4 after that 8-0 start. But they lost 3 in a row, and they've lost 4 of their last 5. Snell got hurt. How long will he be out? Arizona 6-6. Josh Naylor off to a decent start, the former first baseman for the Guards. And then Colorado bringing up the rear at 2-8. There's another example, Ryan. Some things never change.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, I hope something that changes is the Guardians get back to the top of the AL Central. But the Tigers look good, Bruce. And right now, I picked the Royals to win the division personally, but now I think the Tigers are going to win it. Tariq Skubal looks to be another Cy Young campaign. He was probably the number 1 pitcher coming into this season, at least the AL side. It looks like he's going to do that again. And you got Jack Flaherty on the other side. Spencer Torkelson's actually doing something which is nice for them, and Riley Green's coming into his own. So I think the Tigers are something to watch out for this year.
When we come back, the Cavaliers have clinched the number 1 seed in the East as we continue with Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network. I love you, Menor Nissan. Hi, Bruce Drennan here from my good friends at Menor Nissan, Ray Sminchak, the whole staff. As you know, I've been doing a lot of our shows down in Florida, just returned. Great to be back on the home confines of our beautiful studios here at Burke Lakefront Airport for Big Play. But I got to tell you, I drove my Nissan Rogue from Menor Nissan down to Florida, had the rack up on top with extra luggage. It was absolutely the most splendid, beautiful ride. Just as smooth as could be. My wife also drives a Rogue. We rotated driving down there and back, but I just can't recommend it any more so to you. Get on out there, test drive a Rogue or a Murano or any of the other great products that they have out there at Menor Nissan. Don't forget, they're now in partnership with Infinity of Akron and Infinity of Beechwood. Check those great vehicles out as well. Service department is absolutely fantastic. Went back to the dealership to get maintenance after that long drive down there and back. And give them a call. Set up an appointment. Of course, check out their website at MenorNissan.com. That's MenorNissan.com. I love you, Menor Nissan. You know, what a great season this has been for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It really has. Let's hope it continues deep into the spring and into the summer, because it would only be fitting, considering the great regular season, the surprise team of the entire NBA. And gosh, this coach is such a shoo-in for Coach of the Year. It's ridiculous. You can say what you want about Bickerstaff, but my God, did anybody expect the Cavs to have this kind of a year? And last night we clinched it home. So a lot of the fans that we met yesterday at Thirsty Parrot, where we were located, thanks to Colleague Companies doing all of our shows here on Big Play, we're going to the Guardians opener and then going right across the alley to Rocket Arena for the Cavs game. And they were treated with both victories over Chicago teams, by the way. But 135-113, the Cavs a winner with no Mitchell, who has that just precautionary. He was held out because of the ankle. But Garland, 28 points, 2 boards, and 5 assists. Mobley, 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. And off the bench, that's been such a key for the team this year, too. Jerome had 18 points and 5 assists. Hunter, 17 points. What an addition he's been. 3 boards, 4 assists. Wade with 9. Merrill with 9. And the team now is at 63-16. That's the second best record in franchise history. And 3 games to go. Tomorrow in Indiana, Friday at New York, and then Sunday, the conclusion here at home against Indiana. Now, the question is, Ryan, who will the Cavaliers play in round one? Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, Miami? What do you think?
I don't know, Bruce, but it's interesting because out of those teams you said, if we play the Magic, there's the recent history. We played them, obviously, in the first round last year and beat them. They beat us once this year. Paolo is very good against the Cavaliers, very good player in his own right. That'd be interesting. And Atlanta would also be very interesting. Why? Because, well, they beat us twice this year, and not many teams, if any, have done that. And I think Atlanta was one of the places on the road that the Cavs have not won this season, right? That would be interesting. And the Bulls are always just a scrappy play-in team. I don't think the Cavaliers will have any problem with any of those matchups. And Bruce, it's at that time, and you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but just 60-plus wins this season, right? The bench you mentioned, and that's the key in the playoffs is the bench. It's hard to imagine anything less than an Eastern Conference Finals with those Boston Celtics. And now you got, if a potential Game 7 happens, it's going to be right here at Rocket Arena.
Well, like I said all season, the big question mark for the Cavs is how physical they're going to be in the postseason. That's defeated the Cavs the last 2 years, first with New York, and then, of course, last year with Boston. And even in the Orlando series, which Ryan just alluded to, we were out-physicaled in that series by Orlando, even though we prevailed. So I think that's going to be a real key. And, even though Oklahoma City is solidifying the best record in the entire NBA, number one seed in the West at 65-14, there's no guarantee that they're going to win the West, especially now that L.A. has made this trade for Luka to team up with LeBron. Houston's really good. The L.A. Clippers are good. Denver, even Golden State, don't count them out. So if anybody but Oklahoma City, if let's say the Cavs are fortunate enough to win the East, if anybody outside of Oklahoma City wins the West, we get home court advantage in the NBA Finals.
I would not be shocked in the slightest, Bruce, if come June, the Western Conference, the winner of that is the Golden State Warriors. I know it's one of the later teams you just mentioned right there out of the slew of these teams, but ever since trading for Jimmy Butler, they've been on a whole nother level. Steph Curry, just in this last couple weeks, has looked like he's aged backwards 5 years doing what we know Steph does, and he's got that look in his eye. And when you're the Golden State Warriors playing a young team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, yeah, Shai might be the best player in that series, but Steph Curry, one of the greatest to ever play the game, and Jimmy Butler, a guy who's perennially in the NBA Finals, that's a duo that you don't necessarily want to meet come these big games.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting, but 3 games to go, so by the time we're with you next week, it'll be playoff time for our Cleveland Cavaliers. Congratulations, Coach Atkinson, the entire team. What a season indeed it has been. All right, when we come back, let's wrap up the NCAA college basketball season. Unbelievable finish with those 4 number 1 seeds. Wasn't it tremendous entertainment? I thought it was. I think it's one of the most entertaining Final Fours ever. That's next on Bonus Time with Drennan here on Big Play. I'm hard-pressed to think of a more entertaining Final Four than what we just witnessed in men's college basketball. I absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. Incredibly intense. And the Florida Gators get their 3rd national crown, Ryan.
That was a good chomp, Bruce. I think you did that very well. I can tell you practiced that many a times. Were you doing that in 07 when they won?
I liked... No, they lost. Ohio State was one of their victims. UCLA was the other one, back-to-back for Billy Donovan. Florida had a knack for somehow, some way, coming back from a deficit toward the end of the game and winning. And this game against Houston, I never thought that they could come back and win this game against that incredibly tenacious, quick defense of Kelvin Sampson's.
It was absolutely nuts. And I feel for Kelvin Sampson, especially that last play of the game, to not even get a shot off. I mean, that is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, that kid couldn't touch the ball, and that's traveling.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, Kelvin Sampson, the most wins currently for a head coach that has yet to cut down the nets. So I've picked Houston many years to get done. I did it again this year. I thought they were going to do it, especially I thought it was just the magic moment after that comeback versus Duke. Unfortunately, they got a guy in Florida that is by the name of Walter Clayton Jr., who will be playing basketball for an NBA team next season.
Give Houston's defense Clayton was a non-factor in the first half.
Yeah, no, I think he was 0 points, like 0 for 5 shooting or something like that.
And Condon was afraid to take a shot.
It was absolutely unbelievable. Well, Florida, they came back against, I think it was Texas Tech to get to the Final Four. And then they were down, I believe, at halftime against Auburn. It was just the formula for Florida this whole entire year of being clutch, and they're the last team standing, cutting down the net.
Well, their game against Florida's game against Auburn was really interesting, too, because Auburn was controlling that game. They won the first half, no question about it. And then Florida miraculously came back. And unlike Duke in their loss to Houston toward the end of the game, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but the inbound passes was doomsday. That was the doomsday thing for Duke. Because they were trying to pick, and everybody was clustered together, so all you could do was throw the ball up high, and then it's a jump ball. What Florida did to inbound the ball in their victory against Auburn, which you recall was a similar situation, Auburn had a full court press, is that this young coach for Florida put 4 guys separated, and a couple of guys went deep, and a couple of guys went crisscross and came in. I thought that was very clever, and he was able to inbound the ball, unlike Duke against that Houston defense. Now, Florida didn't have to do that against Houston, but I thought it was very effective against Auburn. And let me get to Duke. To me, Duke was the best team in this tournament. And it's really a shame, as well coached, as tremendously talented, as long and tall as they were, that they fell shy of reaching their destiny, fulfilling their destiny. But you know what? They only have themselves to blame. What was it, Ryan? Did they go through like 11 or 12 minutes of not making a field goal in that second half against Houston?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And I got to give Houston all the credit in the world. Sampson said after the game, I have preached and preached and preached to our kids, don't give up, never give up, never give up. If you never give up, you've got a chance. And, that was drilled into them, and it certainly proved to be true. I mean, Duke had a 7-point lead with like 62 seconds to go in the game.
I mean, I think the analytics at one point gave Houston a 1.5% chance to win when it was like 3 minutes left. And Kelvin Sampson said something. It was. I'm paraphrasing along the lines of, I try to teach my kids a difference between competing and winning, because you have to compete even when you're not winning. And when all the cards on the table looked bad, when Houston basically could have gave up and rolled in, they fought till the very last second and did one of the most improbable things in sports I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Their outside shooting, too, was absolutely uncanny. They had like 2-3 guys that were popping them in from long range from beyond the NBA arc, like Clayton was doing. But amazing outside shooting. And, Flagg is so off the charts phenomenal. He could actually still be a senior in high school, believe it or not. I mean, I can't believe his maturity, his poise, his calm. But at the end of the game, he did commit that foul as a former official in the officiating background. That was a foul on Flagg. That was a good call. And why he was short on that jumper is beyond me. Why didn't he take it to the hoop and try to draw the foul where he could go to the line? I thought the officiating was excellent, except for one official in the Florida game against Auburn went 5 calls in a row against Florida. Not that there's anything wrong of that, but they were bad calls. And despite that, Florida still won that game. But tremendous tournament. Any final comments, Ryan, before we move on?
Just for the people that were complaining that we didn't get all these buzzer beaters, we didn't get all these Cinderellas, I think the narrative of this being a bad tournament was shut down when we saw that Final Four play out the way it did.
Yeah, and Florida was so deep. They were a deep team, and they used that depth to wear other teams down. I still can't get over that they beat Houston the way Houston was controlling the game. Auburn was controlling the game against Florida. Duke was controlling the game against Houston. Unbelievable tournament. But the men's college basketball season is now over, and the Florida Gators have won their 3rd national crown. There you have it. All right, when we come back, a little bit on the Browns and the upcoming draft here on Bonus Time with Drennan, Big Play Sports Network. Well, we got to touch upon the Browns. Couple of weeks, we'll really be doing an in-depth show right before the draft, and certainly it's going to be a much anticipated draft for our Cleveland Browns, no question about it. I don't want to devote too much time because we got the Ask Bruce segment coming up. Of course, there was some idiot writer from Dallas or I don't know where he or she was from saying, I have come out of my hiding. Drennan has come out. The stupid moron doesn't realize I only do a show once a week. Come out of my hiding. But I'm not backing down from my prediction about this Prescott deal possibly going through. Isn't it coincidental that New England just traded Milton III to Dallas? This kid is NFL starting quarterback ready. From everybody that says his talent. So he grew up a Cowboys fan, so that's natural. Now appears that the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter at number 2. That also ties in with what I've been saying. That can be part of the way to persuade Prescott to waive his no-trade clause, to give him another weapon with Judy and Njoku. Those are very serious weapons should he decide to waive that no-trade clause. I've said comes down to either the no-trade clause or the money. Now, I think the money can be worked out between two guys like Jones and Haslam. And remember this, please. Myles Garrett didn't suddenly change his mind about signing the extension with the Cleveland Browns because he was all excited about entering the season with Kenny Pickett as his quarterback. Come on. Give me a break. Jimmy Haslam has got to do something. He has absolutely got to do something. He cannot go into this season and expect Browns fans to be excited for the upcoming campaign if he doesn't do something at this quarterback position. And I'm not talking about Kirk Cousins. Any comment?
That's funny. I was going to say, I don't get excited at all, even the littlest bit. No hair on my body sticks up when I think of Kirk Cousins coming to the Cleveland Browns. And that's kind of what it seems like a real possibility is now, is you draft Travis Hunter at 2. That seems like the solidified pick, although anything can happen. We're still a couple weeks away. And if you can't get Shedeur Sanders, well, then it's Kirk Cousins. And that doesn't do it for me, Bruce. Some Browns fans get excited.
And these mock drafts is dropping down like 9th or even lower.
And now, Bruce, the funniest part as the silly season grows on, as we're getting closer to the draft, they're talking about the Browns as they were at the Browns brass was at Colorado's Pro Day. They're in love with both. Is they take Travis Hunter and hope that Shedeur falls to the mid-first and trade back in. Well, that's risking a lot, Bruce. Yeah. That's risking a lot to ask for Shedeur Sanders to fall.
And I'm listening to a talk show, a station I used to work for, and I'm thinking, oh, these guys. Oh, God, thank God I'm no longer there. They're talking about Milroe at that 33 pick. Who do they think Milroe is? Michael Vick? I mean, give me a break. Milroe, I think, is a real project. I could be wrong.
I completely agree with you, Bruce. I don't like Milroe at 33 one bit. One bit, Bruce. That doesn't get me excited at all.
Yeah. All right, we've got 10 picks. The number 2, the number 33, which is like an extra number 1. 67, 94. That was the Amari Cooper deal with Buffalo. 104 in the 4th round. 2 picks in the 6th round and 1 in the 7th. So compensatory picks in both the 6th and the 7th. So we shall see. Coming up next, Mike Yeager to preview the Masters. Bonus time with Drennan. Big Play.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Infinity, luxury experiences for those who dare to be different.
Oh, I do so look forward to the 4 majors in golf. I so look forward to them. And the Masters will tee it up tomorrow, and I can hardly wait. Every time there's a major, I have Mike Yeager, PGA professional, and now elevated to general manager at Columbia Hills Country Club, where I belong, to preview that major. Mike, first of all, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward to another exciting year here at the Hills.
Absolutely. And looking forward to a very exciting year in the 4 majors. And I think it's going to be a fascinating, interesting year for some of these pros for various reasons. Let me start with Scotty Scheffler, who is obviously, again, the favorite, but he cut his hand, as we all know, on Christmas, and that delayed his start to this 2025 season. But more importantly than that, he's won 2 majors. He's the defending champion. Both of his majors are the Masters. I think you've heard me say this before. He's got to prove to me he can win the U.S., the PGA, and the British, no?
Yeah, I mean, that's what every golfer on the tour I would say, strive for, is that career grand slam. But just looking at Rory, you can see how elusive some of these tournaments can be for the golfers. Obviously, his game sets up very, very nicely for Augusta. So I'm looking for another top finish out of him this week.
You mentioned Rory. I think he's going to be if he carries over this momentum that he's had thus far playing in all these other tournaments, he's been tremendous.
Yeah, he has. I mean, we always talk about our favorites for these big tournaments, but I think it comes down to, especially one like Augusta. Yes, it's a bomber's course, which should suit Rory, but he's going to have to get his short game under control and those approach shots. That's where he's lost these tournaments in years past, is just getting the ball in the hole around these greens where your short game must be just spot on.
Yeah, and television, we've talked so much about Augusta National. Television doesn't do justice to how hilly and undulated the course, and particularly the greens are, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bobby Jones built this as, like I said, a bomber's course. So off the tee, the fairways are wide and the big lob-all pines are out there, but you can really launch it out there as far as you want. The winners come like the Scotty Schefflers. It's your scoring clubs, right? So it's fairway to green and getting it close and making some putts, obviously.
Schauffele had a tremendous year last year. He won 2 majors of the 4, but he's been hurt this year for the most part. That's why we haven't seen much of him, right?
Yeah, I think it was a rib injury or something, but all signs point to him being healthy. But again, how many repetitions has he got in? He hasn't gotten a ton of tournament play in. He's fared well in a lot of these majors, and again, that comes down to his short game. He's not the longest hitter on tour by any stretch of the imagination, but he's beating people with his putter and knocking it close.
Everybody seems to be so high on this Iberg, saying that this is really going to be his breakout year. Are you one of those guys?
100%. I didn't follow anyone other than Tiger Woods in their amateur career, and he got on my radar early. He's a grown man, and you got to remember, he's in his early 20s. He's long, he's calm, and you got to remember last year he was competing in here, and it was his first time playing a competitive event at Augusta. That's almost unheard of. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I don't even think anybody's ever won it the first time they've played. So just getting some rounds in there, he's definitely going to be in the mix this year for sure.
Do you give any of the live guys a shot? I mean, DeChambeau, Koepka, some of the others. It's not like playing on the PGA Tour. They have 3-day tournaments. They're not televised. It doesn't seem like the pressure's there because the money's all guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, for sure DeChambeau, right? I mean, he still grinds. You see it online all the time. Like, his competitive fire hasn't gone away, where you kind of imagine the guys that got a bag of money, like the DJs and some of these other guys, they're just showing up and playing, right? I still think DeChambeau is fighting to be at the top of the golf world still, and I'm curious to see how the Live PGA Tour merger comes about. It's going to come about at some time, in my opinion. And you can see the guys that are still, at the top of their game that want to compete with everybody on the PGA Tour. So I think there's 15-ish live guys in this event. But like you said, realistically, how many have a chance? Maybe 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. How about Morikawa? Like McIlroy, he's had a very good early portion of 2025.
Yeah, and then that's like what I like to see too. When I'm making my picks for any of these golf events, whether it's a friendly wager or just talking with my buddies, I like to look at historically how they've done at the golf course and how they're playing leading up to it. So Rory's another perfect example, as you mentioned earlier. But I like to see these guys getting into their like peaking coming into this event, right? If they've missed a couple of cuts coming into this course, then they're probably not going to be at the top of my list.
How about Matsuyama? He's always dangerous.
And he loves the golf course, right? He's a past champion. He's just very, very steady. The thing that's always made or break him is his putter. He doesn't miss a lot of fairways. He doesn't miss a lot of greens. He's able to get himself out of trouble when he finds it. But if he gets that putter going, same as Scheffler, that's when they can distance themselves from the rest of the field.
And let me ask you about a guy who has been very close several times, hasn't been able to pull it off, Victor Hovland.
He is, and I'll never understand it for the life of me, but Tiger Woods did the same thing. He won the FedEx Cup a couple of years ago and then decided to change his swing altogether over the offseason. He ended up firing that swing coach, hired another one, just fired another swing coach, and he said he's just trying not to think. He's just trying to see ball, hit ball again. And because he's got so much God-given ability, I think he got in his own way with mechanics and was just thinking too much on the golf course. And we all know what can happen when that occurs out there. So I like to see him playing natural golf again and freeing himself up a bit. He's still a young guy too. So if he rounds back into form, there's no telling what he could do.
Will Spieth or Justin Thomas have a chance?
I really like the way JT's playing right now for a couple of reasons. The first is his short game. He's got one of the best short games on tour. You see it around his bunker play, his chipping. He's probably one of the best in the world. And I just like his quiet confidence that he's got right now coming into this tournament. He might actually be my pick to win.
Shane Lowry.
I don't know about Spieth, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's been up and down a lot.
He's had some moments early on here. Hasn't been able to be consistent in the tournaments that he has played, but he's given some thrills at times. He's made some recoveries. He's gotten himself into such trouble, and I've seen him make some unbelievable recovery shots, but that's never a prescription for success. Shane Lowry's a guy that's always interesting to watch in majors.
I love Shane Lowry, and you're right. He always shows up at the big tournaments, right? There's certain guys, back when I was younger, it was like Fred Couples, right? Augusta, you're going to see Fred Couples' name on the leaderboard at some point. Majors right now, you're going to see Shane Lowry's name up there at some point. The question is, can he put 4 solid rounds of golf together? But he's so fun to watch. I love him.
Any long shots like a Straka or a Hoagie or somebody else?
Long shots are tough for this tournament. I tend to stay away from them because historically, unless you have the experience at this golf course, you're not as competitive as you would be most weeks on tour. I think the long shots for me would possibly be some of the live guys. Like DeChambeau would be an obvious one, but like, can Brooks Koepka get hot for 4 days? He has historically played very well at this golf course. My long shot, and I think my pick for this week is going to probably be Justin Thomas. I don't know if he'd be technically a long shot, but I feel like he's due. He's due to start really competing and winning golf tournaments, winning majors again. He kind of went through that valley where he was really struggling with his putter and his driver, and he seems like he's starting to click on all cylinders again. Obviously, the easy picks would be Rory or Scheffler. Would I be shocked if they won? Absolutely not. But I think JT would be my pick this week.
What's the weather supposed to be like? Have you heard?
I know they got rained out Monday. I think it's supposed to start getting better as the week has gone on. I haven't seen anything definitive yet. I got it on across my desk here, but I haven't been listening too closely.
Mike, thanks so much for joining us. As always, we look forward to the majors and having you preview those for us here on the Big Play Sports Network. See you at Columbia Hills, partner.
Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Okay, that is Mike Yeager, who is a PGA golf professional and the general manager at Columbia Hills Country Club, where I belong. Ask Bruce segment next here on Bonus Time with Drennan. Big play. Again, I beg your forgiveness. My voice is off. I'm congested. I've had this bug, and I haven't been able to shake it, so please indulge me. Ask Bruce segment. Fire away, Ryan.
Alrighty, hey, Bruce. Opening day for the Guardians. Nolan didn't have a hit, but he did draw 2 walks and made good contact. What's your confidence after post-opening day, I should say, for Nolan?
I'm glad. He's very happy to be back. He feels he's in a comfort zone since the trade brought him back from Colorado. Hey, if you look at the season he had for the Rockies a couple of years ago, if he's in a happy mood like this and he knows he's going to be in there against the righties, Noel will be in there against the lefties, that could work out beautifully. And I know that Earl Weaver perfected platooning. This could be a great platoon situation in right field for the Guardians. Although yesterday, when we were doing our interviews and we talked about DeLauder, we had the assistant general manager of the team on, and Matt Foreman. DeLauder may not be that far off, and he's a real hot prospect.
Yeah, my ears perked up when he said that, Bruce, yesterday. All right, starting pitching rotation, Bruce, out of the starting 5, which one are you most concerned about?
Well, I would actually say 6 because McKenzie is out of options. That we have to face the reality that if he can't adapt to the bullpen in a one-inning situation, you're going to have to face the reality of cutting ties with the kid. And it's unfortunate because even before he emerged in the majors, he's always been injury prone. Some guys just are. But right now, it's got to be Logan Allen, obviously. And a big key for him will be this next start or his next 2.
Alrighty, hey, Bruce, after Lane Thomas took that ball off the hand, if he's injured and has to miss time, who do you think should come up?
Yeah, that's a good one, and I was really concerned about that. They're saying it's day to day. They haven't, unless you've got an update that I don't, Ryan.
I have not yet seen one.
Okay, I heard it's day to day, so keep your fingers crossed. I haven't even looked on who they would bring up, but gosh, Will Brennan is an obvious choice because he can play center field.
Alrighty, hey, Bruce, when do you think we should expect Travis Bazzana to move up to AAA in Columbus?
Well, we talked about that if you were with us yesterday, too, and I think that this kid may see some major league, they may give him a little taste in September, come September, no matter where we are in the race, but this kid is destined to be a superstar from what everybody says, so we'll see how he keeps going like this in AA. It won't be long before he's in AAA.
All right, hey, Bruce, last one. When do you think we'll see Walters or Sobrowski make the bullpen?
We touched on that, too. They're both, of course, recovering from injury. Sobrowski, of course, made a nice contribution last year. That's the beauty of this pitching staff, both with the Major League Club and in the minors. They're so deep. They can just plug these guys in. Absolutely love it. Love you, too. And thank you for joining us for this week's version of Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network. We'll be back with you next week. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy the baseball. A lot more, of course, rumors about the Browns and the upcoming draft as well. I'm Bruce Drennan on behalf of Ryan Smith. You have a good one. We'll see you next week. Until then, as always, and most importantly, you remember,